But I'm very excited now to introduce my good friend Augusto, a fellow B Corporation, founder, CEO of Nossa Familia Coffee, and one of my favorite human beings. He has just a verve for life that's incredible.
I love EO. When I started Nossa Familia Coffee about 12 years ago, there's quite a few challenges ahead. Number one, I was an engineer. I knew nothing about how to start a business or run a business. Number two, I was the breadwinner for the family. So it was my responsibility to keep an income coming while we had baby number 2 on the way already. Number three, I had a whole $400 that I could invest to start a business. And then to make matters more interesting, this is Portland and coffee, and the competition is fierce. There's over 30 roasters back then, and now there's over 60 of us roasters in Portland alone. But I knew I couldn't stay an engineer. It wasn't fulfilling to me. My brain is not wired for engineering, as my operations manager would tell you. And then there was a more honorable reason of why I wanted to go into coffee. You see, my family has been growing coffee in the highlands of Brazil for over 120 years, since the 1890s. Coffee is my heritage. Coffee's in my blood. It's some of in your blood as well, I can see. I grew up spending all my holidays at the farm. Let me tell you of one of my memories. 6 a.m., my grandpa shakes me awake. Levanta, Guto, levanta, let's go. And I would join him and my uncles at the breakfast table. This was the table of plenty. My grandma Augusta would bake almost everything that was on the table. And of course, there's the strong coffee there. And as an 8-year-old, I didn't drink it, but put a bunch of sugar and milk. And then from there, I'd go to ride horses with the farm cowboys. And I remember vividly as an 8-year-old watching the sunrise, watching the mist over the lake, just having this burning desire to show all my friends in Rio how cool the farm was, how beautiful it was. This is a large farm, really large family. My grandpa's 1 out of 11. My mom is the oldest of 10 kids. And so loads of cousins, a lot of fun in the holidays. And there's 50 families that live and work in this farm. And so I grew up seeing how my grandpa and my uncles treated everybody. I grew up hearing the stories of the electrical turbine that was put in the farm so we didn't have to buy power and it would be more sustainable for the farm. It's a beautiful heritage. And as I got older, I realized that farming is really hard and there's a lot of risk involved and it's not a guaranteed thing. And it's amazing that the sustainability in the farm, the ability to sustain, both environmentally and economically, what my family had done. So there's a lot of pride. So here I am in Portland. I have the story. I think I'm gonna get started. And I sat down with a friend who was a veteran in the coffee industry. And I'm here to get some advice. I really trust what he has to say. And he says, Augusto, this is gonna be really tough. I don't think you can start a coffee company with coffee from just one farm, from one country. Look at the competition out there, it's crazy. People are featuring coffees from 20 different countries. And so that was fun to hear. I had enough challenges already. But that gave me my first insight into competition and how I think about competition. First, competition is good. Coffee in Portland is so good because there is so much competition. And then the insight I got was that I wasn't gonna worry about what the competition was doing. I was gonna worry about finding customer insights. What is it that customers want? And I knew from my experience, from seeing my wife and friends shop at New Seasons, that people want a story. They want a connection with the products they buy. And I had that story. And so we aimed to showcase Brazilian coffee, which was not very well marketed. And more than that, we aimed to market coffee from my family's farm. So we even created a family line. So the coffees that we have are named after people in my family. Ernesto's, Teodoro's Italian Roast. When I go back home, I even say, hey, Teodoro's is outselling Ernesto's. Camilla's, which is one of my favorites, named after my daughter. Matilda's French Roast, which is named after my great-grandmother. And get this, she was born in 1888 and passed away in 1991 at 103 years old. So we have this beautiful family heritage, and that's what we've focused on. What else have we done to carve a niche in this highly competitive industry? One of the core values at Nossa Familia is ABMF, always be making friends. And we go to the extreme. I've reached out to the competition, and we're probably one of the only roasters that has done this, but we've reached out to other roasters and we've said, hey, what you're doing is pretty cool. Your coffee is awesome. Would you like to do a trade? We'll feature your coffee at our espresso bar, and you can feature ours. It's a great way to reach out, make more friends in your own industry, and learn from each other. Our purpose at Nossa Familia, our reason for being, is to deliver farm-direct coffee and nurture positive relationships locally and globally. With that in mind, we decided to expand the Familia. My family's big enough in Brazil, but we wanted even more. Part of it was just the excitement of being able to travel to other countries, and part of it was desire to help farmers in other countries. The first country that we started doing business with outside of Brazil was Guatemala. And Guatemala, despite all the negative things that happen there, has a beautiful coffee scene. It's a beautiful country. We actually just took 22 people to Guatemala. I came back a week ago, and I got to hang out with Timoteo. He's a farmer that grows about 30 big bags of coffee, and we buy 70% of his production. And it was really awesome to be there the second year in a row and see the progress they've made with the co-op. He's also the president of the co-op. And the coolest thing was, through our Give Back program, when we started Nossa Familia, we started setting aside funds from every pound of coffee that we sold. And we donate at least 10% of our profits every year. So through this Give Back fund, we were able to pay for solar panels that got installed in this co-op. So this co-op is for 28 farmers, and last year they had a $1,000 electricity bill, which is really high for them. This year they're expecting it to be zero because of the solar panels that we helped fund. Another cool thing that we've done through ABMF is connect people. So one of the farmers that we started working with, Bayardo in Nicaragua, he had restarted his family's farming tradition. We were the first ones to import his coffee into the US. And we brought him along. We subsidized his trip and his brother's trip to go to Guatemala. So here I am from Brazil, living in Portland, going to Guatemala, introducing these people. And Bayardo was ecstatic about the trip, how much he learned from the Guatemalan neighbors, and the things that he's going to be able to implement. Another cool thing that happened with Bayardo, and this is part of another core value of ours, which is build trust. I went to his farm for the first time in 2013, and it was a beautiful farm, and we knew our philosophies match. And when we were getting ready for the final details of the final logistics, and we started talking about pricing, when he named the price for the coffee, I had to tell him, no, it's too cheap. You need to charge us more. And that's build trust, because we knew that his coffee was going to be getting better and better, and we wanted him to have a sustainable coffee production. So these are some of the things that we've done to be our own, to have our own voice, to be a force for good in the world. And with our Give Back program, it was during the crisis, I had a banker sit me down and tell me that I was donating too much money. And that was also hard to hear, but we kept on donating money. And when I wrote a $2,000 check to Habitat for Humanity in December, our total donations since our inception reached $100,000. And that was a huge moment of pride that as a small company, we could have that big of an impact. So I'll close today with an invitation. First, ABMF. Let's make more friends at your table, in Portland, and around the world. And then, the main thing, a quest to make more honorable decisions in our businesses, our day-to-day lives, and be a force for good. Thank you.